GRS launches GE15 manifesto. Heat of GE15 in Limbang. And GBS denies backing BN. Those are the headlines for tonight. You're now with me, Shosha Metro, and this is TVS Nightline. Gabungan Rakyat Sabah unveiled a 13-point election manifesto today, taking into account the people's views and sentiments. Gabungan Rakyat Sabah Chairman Datuk Sri Hajiji Noor said the first of the 13 thrusts was to empower the state economy and the people of Sabah through agriculture, industrialization and tourism, while the second was aimed at empowering energy resources. Now for the latest update, we have Amirul Mukminin over in Kota Kinabalu with a report.
Thank you, Cheryl. Update from Sabah itself. Today, Gabungan Rakyat Sabah has officially launched the manifesto for GE15, which includes 13 trusts in the manifesto. If you can see from Gabungan Party Sarawak, GPS, the other day that they launched actually 25 trusts, while in Sabah there's 13. This includes that the continued effort to ensure all claims relating to Sabah rights and Malaysia Agreement 1963. Also, the other trusts include focus on giving on development of women in Sabah, especially to the women's rights and violating rights, women abusing. This includes to strengthen the state public service, which Hajiji said will improve delivery system in Malaysia, especially in Sabah, which is we can see from now on the GRS actually has given a lot of these 13 trusts to win the public hearts. So the other development and information latest we can share in here from Tenem itself, Tenem riots, which the other day Dato' Peter Anthony rushed into SPR nomination day in Tenem, which bring a lot of riots over there. He was detained by PDRM 2 days ago, and now he was released by PDRM to ensure that the investigation is still going on. So Cheryl, let me show you something here that the public has actually seen the catastrophe around in Sabah right now. Sabah has to face what we can say that is a very shameful incident. Thank you for sharing. Get back to you, Cheryl.
Thank you, Amirul, for that insightful update. And that was the latest update on the state's manifesto from Kota Kinabalu, Sabah. Now, on the other hand, today marks the 4th day of the campaign for candidates contesting in the upcoming 15th general election. Now, in Limbang, it can be seen as the spirit soars through the placement of the flags from respective political parties. Now, for more details, we have our reporter on the ground, Akma Saleh, to share us the details. Over to you, Akma.
Thank you, Studio. As the day draws closer to the 50th general election, Gabungan Party Sarawak GPS has intensified its campaign by installing more flag in the Limbang parliamentary seat. Through my observation earlier today, I can see GPS flag being installed from the Limbang iconic roundabout heading toward Kampung Meritab. Apart from that, I have also spotted the GPS white flag in the villages such as Kampung Mengatai, Kampung Buang Abai. So far, I have not seen any flag of the opposing parties, while GPS candidates' posters have been decorating in many roads in the city. I've also had a chance to speak with the candidate himself, Dato' Hasbi Habibullah, and according to him, to transform rural areas, the younger generation plays an important role through their skill, knowledge, and experience that they have gained from other places to incur change in the said area. That's all I've got for you at this moment. Akma Saleh and Fikri Raza, TVS Limbang.
Thank you, Akma. Now, Gabungan Party Sarawak Chairman Dato' Patinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tunapeng has denied claims that an agreement has been reached for GPS to support Barisan Nasional in forming the new federal government if BN falls short of the simple majority it needs.
I don't know. I I just read also. I also don't know.
Why you comment on that?
Huh?
Are you going to give them the support?
No, I don't want to comment because nothing.
Abang Johari said this in Lawas for a Sarawak Kusayang program today when asked to comment on a news report that stated UMNO Secretary General Ahmad Maslan said the matter had been agreed upon between the two parties in a recent meeting. Ahmad was quoted saying that in the meeting, the leaders of the four-party ruling coalition did not reject the proposal of GPS working with BN as long as BN is the dominant party.
GPS decision to go solo was to hinder from being influenced by opposition-based parties. This allowed the coalition to decide on its course without interference or consulting other parties, said its Santubong candidate Datuk Sri Nancy Shukri.
Sebenarnya orang Sarawak faham selama ini sebab kita tidak mengikatkan diri kita dengan mana-mana parti pun. Kita GPS adalah satu parti yang tersendiri. Kita membuat keputusan tanpa merujuk kepada mana-mana parti. Dari situ orang Sarawak pun sudah tahu kita tidak lagi bersama dengan parti-parti yang berkaitan dengan negeri-negeri lain ataupun parti dari Semenanjung. Kita hanya bersendirian dan insya-Allah kalau kita menang kita akan bersama dengan parti yang kita boleh bekerjasama dengan mereka untuk menubuhkan kerajaan kan insya-Allah lah. Jadi ini yang kita harapkan dan kita mahu orang Sarawak faham. Jangan kita terpedaya dengan cara pembangkang untuk mengelirukan orang Sarawak.
Nancy, who is also PBB Women's Wing Vice President, told these to reporters during the walkabout session in Bandar Baru Semarang today, November 8. Commenting further, she reiterated that the ruling coalition's main mission is to defend Sarawakian rights, among other. Hence, any cooperation with other parties to establish a government will be determined once GPS wins the 15th general election.
Sarawak government will table a motion to amend the state constitution at the State Legislative Assembly at the end of this month, in line with the anti-party hopping law, which was recently amended in the federal constitution and came into force on October 5. Premier Sarawak Datuk Patinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Todabeng said the amendment was to fine-tune existing provisions in the Sarawak Constitution, particularly involving elected representatives who have won on an independent ticket or those who have left their party and wish to switch to another party.
Meanwhile, among other items to be expected in the Assembly sitting include the tabling of the Sovereign Wealth Fund Bill.
Jadi, Dewan Undangan Negeri yang akan datang bersidang hujung bulan tu, kita akan pindah perkara 17 Perlembagaan Sarawak. Kita kemas kini, tiada lagi nak lompat-lompat. Jangan permainkan rakyat. Saya orang politik, kadang-kadang saya kecil hati juga dengan orang lompat. Kadang hanya orang lompat, kita orang fikir nak lompat juga. Kotor jadi. Sebabnya kita pindah perlembagaan tu, Sarawak. Perkara 17. Saya bukan loyal, tanya. Kita dulu, revenue only 4 to 5 billion. Sebelum saya menjadi Ketua Menteri dan Premier, the highest was 6 billion. Hari ini more than 10 billion pendapatan saya. Itulah sebab boleh tolong. Dan end of this month, I will reveal our revenue dalam DUM. Dia agak 2 digit. 2 digit. Bukan million, billion, 2 digit. Dan ini akan kita gunakan untuk masa depan.
He said this in his opening speech of the Sarawak Kusayang program in Long Tuma, Lawas, today, November 8.
Among the highlight of the engagement program held by the Ministry of Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs, KPD and HEP, in Kapit on Tuesday, November 8th, was the introduction of e-wallets. As such, the program was well received by the residents, with many noting that it is beneficial when it comes to digital economy and financial literacy.
According to Chief Assistant Senior Director of the Trade Distribution and Services Industry Secretariat (SPIP), Dr. Shaharuddin Shah Muhammad Noor, the program is one of the initiatives by the state government to better protect and empower consumers, especially for those in rural areas. He said that during the program, a total of 600 Kapit residents comprising of retailers and entrepreneurs have benefited from the initiatives, namely from the Retail Sector Digitalization Initiative Program, Food Bank, e-vouchers and Student Entrepreneur Program.
Selain daripada itu, kita juga memperkenalkan inisiatif e-voucher, program jualan Malaysia, dan juga kita membawa bersama secara live, iaitu kita membawa rakan-rakan strategik kita iaitu e-wallet daripada Sarawak Pay, SP Global. Kita juga membawa Tashengo dan Boost untuk bersama-sama membuat advokasi dan onboarding bagi sekitar 200 peniaga.
He said this to a reporter at Dataran Song on Monday. At the same time, he revealed that many of the participants in the program have downloaded the e-wallet applications on their phone. Dr. Shah further explained that the program will be held for 2 days and will be a platform to give exposure while advocating to a variety of consumers in addition to meeting the needs of the people in the rural areas.
Former Betong Member of Parliament Dr. Robert Lawson Chwat, who had declined nomination for the 15th general election, said the matter was on his own accord, as he believed that he had reached the end of his political career and it is time to make way for new leaders.
He said this during an election briefing for Parti Pusaka Bumi Putra Bersatu PBB at 2 separate functions on Tuesday. Also present were Deputy Premier Dato' Amar Douglas Ugahambas and Dr. Richard Rapu. Chwat began his political career in 2006 when he stood for election in the Bukit Saban constituency and also in 2011 for his second term. He continued as the Member of Parliament in Betong when he was elected in May 2018 election. Chwat urged all Betong voters, specifically the Undi 18 and new voters, to give their complete support to Dr. Richard.
The Betong parliamentary constituency is in good hands as it has a worthy successor. Deputy Premier Dato' Amar Douglas Ugahambas said Dr. Richard Rapu, a veterinarian by training, has been serving under him in the Betong parliamentary, then Bukit Saban state constituencies for 14 years, having had the necessary exposure with intimate knowledge of the rural situations in Betong, its people's expectations and hardships.
Ugah told the Sarawak Premier Dato' Paninggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg also agreed that Dr. Richard is the best choice for Betong and hopes that all Betong voters will support Dr. Richard as GPS candidate. He added Chwat disclosed his intention to withdraw from politics to him and former Deputy Chief Minister Tan Sri Dato' Patinggi Alfred Jabu 6 months ago. The Deputy Premier thanked Chwat and his willingness to step down on his own accord to make way for new leaders, adding that he is PBB's hallmark and strength. On the coming election, Ugah, who is GPS election director, called on the people in Betong to be careful of those stirring sensitive sentiments to win over their votes. He stressed that semenanjung and racial issues have no place in Sarawak by saying, "Anang sesat dibai antu kambak," which means do not be led astray by mischievous kambak forest evil spirit.
Sarawak is now no longer considered as the poorest state in Malaysia as highlighted by certain parties that were accentuated based on income gap differences of the people as compared to other states in Malaysia.
Bagaimana kita nak bagi tahu bahawa apa yang diperjuangkan itu kan, yang untuk rakyat Sarawak sendiri, kita nak menyampaikan mesej bahawa kita nak sama dengan diorang. Jadi fakta yang mengatakan Sarawak ni miskin sebab dia merujuk kepada hasil pendapatan. Sebab itulah salah satu juga kalau kita baca 64 surat tu melonjakkan pendapatan yang tinggi di kalangan rakyat Sarawak supaya kita meraih keuntungan sama dengan Semenanjung. Sebab sekarang ni beza jurang adalah pendapatan yang kita perolehi. Sebab Semenanjung kan dia punya komposisi populasi kota metropolitan, itulah yang menyebabkan perbezaan.
Affirming her notion that the mandate should be given to GPS if the people want Sarawak to progress forward.
Sarawak sekarang sudah maju ke depan. We have a way forward dengan perancangan, dengan adanya manifesto ini, dengan harapan yang rakyat bagi. Tapi dengan satu syarat, mandat kena diberikan kepada kerajaan ini. Kalau mandat tidak ada, apa yang dirangkakan hanya tinggal impian.
Noaida Kipli said this during the TVS Malaysia Decides program on Tuesday.
Different than the last elections, voters are now torn between choosing either candidates or political party. However, a new study by University Utara Malaysia, UUM, found that voters are still inclined to pick political party rather than candidates.
According to the findings of UUM Centre of Testing, Measurement and Appraisal, CHETMA, Malaysian voters are most likely to vote for a political party and not manifesto. Based on the report, 36.9% of respondents said they would vote for a political party as opposed to manifesto, which is 34.3%, and personality, which is 28.8%. In addition, rising cost of living and economic situation remain the issues close to the voters' hearts, with 45.1% and 37.2% citing it as their top concerns. And a resounding 51.9% attributed the matter to weak governance. As such, respondents are also pessimistic about a short-term economic recovery, with 52.8% votes. Chetma noted in terms of representation, Sarawak is more supportive of female candidates, with 69.66%, and young candidates 75.28%. A total of 74% of voters also would like to see more younger candidates in the polls.
Coming up right after the break, 746 premises in Sarawak obtained halal certificate and demands for the halal industry nationwide achieved. Right here on TVS Nightline, stay tuned. Welcome back to the Nightline. Modern facilities are crucial to ensure active economic and social activities, in addition to an environment that is conducive to quality living. As such, Gabungan Party Sarawak's GPS candidate Jeffrey Pang Xiaofung reiterated that the party is committed to its commitment to ensure more progress and development can be carried out in Miri if the mandate returns to GPS.
Together with the three GPS-led assemblymen in Miri, namely YB Dr. Sri Lee Kim Chin, from Senadin, YB Dr. Sebastian Ting from Piasal, and YB Anthony from Pujut, we will work closely as a team to bring more progress and development to achieve our greater Miri vision. I shall also work very closely with GPS team under the leadership of our Premier, YB Amanjo, who has been fighting for the restoration of our rights, or rights that have been eroded and not restored yet. To succeed in our endeavor, we in GPS need the strong support and mandate from the people in this parliamentary election.
Meanwhile, in accordance with the Malaysia Agreement 1963 in defending Sarawak's right within the Federation of Malaysia, he added that he is determined to bring the voice of the people to the parliament to ensure more authority to the state's departments and agencies in making decisions. This is in line with the coalition's pledge on Sarawak's demand under the Special Council on the Malaysia Agreement 1963 that the federal government devolve, including on administrative power.
In addition, I will voice out loudly in Parliament that the federal ministries and departments should grant more power to Sarawak federal departments and agencies to make decisions locally. In order to cut the red tapes and improve service delivery efficiency, Miriam can rest assured that as a member of GPS, I will always endeavour to defend, protect Sarawak rights and interests. I will also put priority on the well-being and progress of Miri and its people.
Meanwhile, commenting on the youth voters, Jeffrey's team has launched a QR code on his website for the younger generation to learn about GPS candidates. Moreover, the use of newspapers and social media, namely Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, are also utilized so that voters understand GPS objectives and plans for the Miri Parliament. The 15th general election for the Miri parliamentary seat will witness a three-cornered battle between Jeffrey Pang, Chu Chun Man from Pakatan Harapan PH, and Datuk Lawrence Lai from Parti Sarawak Bersatu PSB.
On to the next update. A total of 746 business premises in Sarawak have obtained the Halal certificate in a bid to gain Muslim customers' trust and to penetrate the halal market. While providing assurance to Muslim consumers, it also ensures that the products are produced in accordance with the Sharia law.
As such, the Premier of Sarawak, Datuk Patinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg, hopes that the said premise will be able to attract tourists from the Middle East and Muslim-friendly investors. His text of speech was read by the Deputy Minister in the Premier of Sarawak's Department, Law MA63 and State Federal Relations, Datuk Sharifah Hasidah Said Aman Ghazali.
Saya difahamkan Majlis Islam Sarawak telah merangka dan merancang hala tuju yang strategik bagi memperkasakan pengurusan halal di Sarawak, termasuk mengeluarkan surat perakuan halal Majlis Islam Sarawak untuk mengembangkan ekonomi industri halal saiz mikro. Mengenai CJ halal ini, saya berharap Majlis Islam Sarawak akan bekerjasama dengan lebih erat bersama dengan pihak HDC untuk memastikan perusahaan yang mahu meneroka industri halal ini dapat direalisasikan.
She said this during the campaign initiative of Budget 2022 in conjunction with the Jelajah Halal 2022 Sarawak at Majma Tuanku Abdul Halim Muazzam Shah Hall, Kuching on Tuesday.
The halal industry in Malaysia recorded an exponential growth and has become one of the country's main sources of revenue. Ministry of International Trade and Industry Chief Secretary Dr. Lokman Hakim Ali said Malaysia has retained the top place for 9 consecutive years compared to 81 countries' global Islamic economy indicator in the Islamic Economic Institute report from 2020 to 2021.
Pada tahun 2021, prestasi ekspor halal negara telah mencatatkan pencapaian yang sangat memberangsangkan di mana terdapat peningkatan sebanyak 19% daripada 30.5 bilion ringgit kepada 36.3 bilion ringgit. Dan jumlah ini mewakili hampir 3% daripada keseluruhan ekspor negara. Bagi tahun 2022 pula, sehingga bulan Jun, ekspor halal negara melonjak kepada 30.3 bilion ringgit berbanding 17.3 bilion bagi tempoh yang sama tahun lepas.
He further explained that the government is targeting for the halal industry to thrive according to the 12th Malaysia Plan, which is expected to contribute 8.1% to the gross domestic product (GDP). As such, the country export market needs to be further expanded following the growth of the global halal industry, which is expected to reach $2.8 trillion by the year 2025. Meanwhile, he added Meaty and Halal Development Corporation, HDC, has established collaboration with the Ministry of International Trade and Industry, Industrial Terminal and Entrepreneur Development, Sarawak, Mintred, to drive the development of the halal industry in the state. He is confident that the cooperation will boost opportunities for local economic growth involving halal products and services.
And now on to the next highlight. Park Warden Pedro Mogura looked pleased as he picked a ripe handful of cherry red coffee beans from a more resistant variety found in Mozambique's Gorongosa National Park in 2020. The cash crop, which thrives in the shade of indigenous trees, has provided a motivation for people living around Gorongosa to protect a rainforest that has lost more than 100 hectares of tree cover per year over the past 4 decades.
The idea why starting coffee is that for 2 reasons. First is that we want to make sure that the forest, the native trees which people were cutting, we want to rebuild because destruction was going on. And we want to recover the forest. That is first. The second reason is in terms of tangible benefits to the community.
Weather patterns have grown increasingly erratic in Mozambique, where climate shocks, including repeated cyclones, have offset livelihoods in one of the world's poorest countries. Last year, communities around Gorongosa planted more than 260,000 coffee trees and 20,000 indigenous trees. The park now has 815,000 coffee trees planted over 243 hectares of land. More than 800 small-scale farmers, 40% of who are women, pick the green coffee, dry the beans and sell them.
See the world closer with TVS as we bring you the latest news updates both locally and internationally. Just head on to our official website at tvstv.my or follow us on our social media platforms. And don't forget to catch our comprehensive discussion on GE15 with our daily coverage of Malaysia Decides at 10 a.m., 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. daily. That's all the time we have for TVS Nightline. I'm Shel Shameto. Thank you for watching.